Alright, we're heading north on Route 309, about 6 miles north of Hazleton. And we are passing the entrance to the Beach Mountain. It's a gated community. And now straight ahead is where I'm going to take it today. This is the location of the old Angela Park community. And I'm going to be pulling into what used to be the main entrance. Now if you take notice, they have a sign here that says property available for lease. It's also posted no trespassing, so I'm not going to venture any farther than this point here since the gates are closed. I wrote some notes down before I forget. Several times in the past, I should have saved the articles from the newspaper that the police use this as a training facility. So quoting from some of my notes, before I begin a short tour of the property, like I said, it's only limited because with the no trespassing signs, I would like to give you a brief history. This park was for many years a family park, favorite place to have some fun and exciting for children. On certain holidays, it was like a packed can of ham. Often the state police were needed to direct traffic at the park's entrance. Several YouTube videos have been uploaded in other channels. In them, in their own limited way, documenting the former glory days. If you type in Hazleton Angela Park in the YouTube search bar, that should bring up the videos. One video has already documented the demise of the park, so this video being shown will also take a look at the creek nearby. If you do a Google Maps search, I would estimate the park covers more than 12 acres, with the surroundings also suitable. Yes, suitable. My prediction is as follows. This park facility has already been surveyed and accepted to be used as a FEMA location, either as headquarters or actual detainment area, when martial law finally comes out of the closet. Since actual documentation is not available, off limits to the public, being classified, what indications exist to support the prediction? No doubt if FEMA or government in general were asked, they would deny any intentions. First, the location is suitable. A large creek or stream nearby to provide water, along with the close proximity to the interstate and several airports, one airport being the former Hazleton Airport about 6 miles west in Drums area, has a large enough runway for medium planes, including helicopter landings. Remember, this is a brief summary. Just let me turn the page here a minute. Again, what proof is there that this site has been selected? There is an old theory of law that there is no such thing as inaction, that one's inaction was acting not to act. As example, if you passed by a motorist broke down along the highway, changing a tire, and you kept driving, your action was not to act by not giving assistance. The inaction or dormant state of this former park can be used to support the prediction as action as to why the land has not been developed. Maybe a hands-off directive was issued to halt any developer from using the area. A good excuse is handy to have at the ready for the curious to quickly diffuse their unwelcome questions. Another clue is as follows. After the park closed, all the buildings were standing. Under the pretense of code violations, all the remaining structures were razed, clearing the way for immediate takeover. Since any such area, if taken over by FEMA, well, no doubt would be worried about security. The natural location would only assist in security measures. If you take notice, there's the high mountains in the foreground there, or in the background. During the Agnes flood of 1972, while in the Coast Guard, I was stationed in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and witnessed the commandeering tendencies and martial law mentality, as of getting a glimpse of the future. My prediction has a possible second phase, which would be the acquisition of the Beach Mountain gated community, which is adjacent to the park area. If commandeered, would provide housing for high-ranking officials. Some businesses in the general area would be commandeered, so to provide support for fueling and other essentials such as a depot. Not too far north on Route 309 is an old truck stop that is suitable for a depot area. Military logistics would require pit stop areas every 10 miles or so along the interstate. You see, this park was a prophetic landscape in its own right. For those who believe the hostile takeover of our country by government in and for its own best interest, this has already begun, it is such parks that paved the way. How is that possible? As a starting point after World War II, when prosperity seemed to be a never-ending road, as the horizon sun never set, having gas stations along the way with cheap fuel to get us there, the American society was preoccupied with leisure and used as a tool to dumb down the populace. To a large extent, people are still preoccupied with leisurely pursuits and self-achievement, chasing the carrot on the stick of a college degree that brings wealth and fortune, that is if you want to relocate to China. Some are demanding that the first day of baseball season be declared a national holiday, paying no mind that the stadium has been turned into a prison-type environment. With the advent of television, he got our nose out of books and glued to the boob tube to watch reenactments of our country's greatness, even then as it started to crumble around us. Since the mid-50s, in a blink of an eye, all the prosperity that was taken for granted, well, it's all gone. Factories and businesses have closed. Many towns, when walking the main streets, such as Hazleton, Freeland, Monoy City, and Shenandoah, to name a few in the area, are literal ghost towns. The rise and fall of the shopping malls has begun. When probability assessments are done, just in focusing on the interstate system and why it was created, for those movement of troops and war materials. During World War II, it was the Japanese Americans that were interned. Now it will be all of us with slant-eyed stares as we get it shoved up our ass, seeing the stark reality of it all when it happens. When Europeans came to this continent centuries ago, it was the first wave of hostile corporate takeover when the indigenous people were exterminated and systematically placed in concentration camps known as reservations. The Europeans themselves were a biological weapon bringing disease. Now places like this park are reserved for the final entertainment of those who took over the country. Who are they? The ball players of the New World corporate order. For those who watch this video with dismay, incredulous to even consider the possibility, you have replaced freedom with comfort and leisure. Now living happily as a social inmate, proud to display your sports trophies, now having more time to engage in your favorite pastime since losing your job. If you take time to watch the videos as mentioned, back when the people were busy with leisure, the public service for planning the day when they became masters. What's that saying? A rose by any other name is still a rose. As like the Revolutionary War, the redcoats now wear a different color. We have a standing army dressed sometimes as a police officer, or should I say law enforcement officer. The SWAT team is an army. Their primary duty is not to protect the public, but to generate revenue. Several $1 million a year in Luzerne County alone, as the wealth is shared amongst the players. The Pennsylvania State Police was patterned after the Pinkerton Agency, having primary function to protect corporate interests. This is true today. In the fall of 1988, I went to the State Police headquarters in Harrisburg, and there in the lobby was a picture of Alan Pinkerton. One thing I should mention, not too far from here, is the junction for Interstates 80 and 81. From researching old newspaper articles, including what is available at the State Law Library in Harrisburg, information that was disclosed back then during the construction of the interstates, I speculate it would be classified today. For example, quoting from memory, the actual hub location for 80 and 81 was moved 3 times during the planning stages to find a suited area that could be best defended. Checkpoint Alpha. Remember, it was designed as a military throughway used for commerce in the meantime. What is taking place with the militarization of this country and the inevitable full deployment of martial law will not be stopped. It is going to happen. No different than trying to stop the next ice age. So what's the point of uploading this video? Those who are in control, or at least riding the wave, are so overconfident, and with good reason. On the one hand, they could care less, intoxicated with arrogance. On the other hand, could piss them off. Imagine if every Jew getting off the train at a death camp walked up to the officer and said, "When the trains are empty, it will be your turn." As like before in Germany, the FEMA camps will be filled with little or no resistance. The social inmates, like lemmings, will walk right in. What's that one Bible passage? If the blind lead the blind, they will both fall into the ditch. From checking the Greek, the word grave would be more appropriate. So I will close by mentioning a book published recently by Oliver Stone and Peter Kuznick titled The Untold History of the United States. It's available on Amazon.com. Where is martial law today? Schools have now been turned into a prison-type environment. Airports, courthouses, and even the Social Security office. Our children are being desensitized to accept the police state mentality that it's the new normal. Martial laws along the highway, checkpoints popping up. When getting pulled over, unlawful searches of your vehicle are conducted, and if money is found, confiscated, whereby you have to prove it's yours and obtained legitimately. Several videos have documented this abuse, such as Tennessee. With drones in the sky having infrared capabilities, there is no place to run. As if we're all passengers on the Titanic. I'll give you an example. On March the 1st, 1996, early in the morning, at least 4 officers that I could see, all wearing body armor and guns drawn, with the police helicopter hovering over my house, came to my home and took me into custody without incident. I spent 6 days at the county prison and released. No charges were filed and no paperwork was given to me explaining the reasons. It will happen again, this time for all of us. For those who run or resist, you will be shot. Part of the reason, like the initiation into a gang, some gangs require that you must kill someone to get accepted. The Fraternal Order of Police, well, maybe it's a secret society that have their own initiation rituals. Everyone getting a turn. And to think that the American helmet, worn by the military and SWAT members, was patterned after the German design. So right now I'm going to take a short walk up to the creek, which is not part of this property. I don't want to be violating the no trespassing signs. So if you bear with me a minute, we're going to take a quick walk. See, as I mentioned in the video, what is necessary for any facility is water and a steady supply of it. Despite the noise of the traffic, it's not windy today. Today is March the 9th. Now, if you can see over there, there's like pieces of cement. That's all that was left over. They used to have a nice little train track that went through here. It was one of the amusement rides. And that little notch between the trees is where the train tracks used to be. Now, I find it interesting that even down here by the creek, they have a no trespassing sign. For years, this was a favorite spot to go fishing, and I even went fishing here myself. So as you can see, there's a, I don't know if you will call this a creek, a stream, but there's ample supply of water. Less than a mile east of here is a dam.